Welcome to Cowgirl Talk, where we empower you to live authentically through real food, real talk, and real life. Sisters brought together by our love of cows. We're your host, Emily, a dairy lover and personal trainer living in Florida.
And Becca, a corporate cowgirl holding down the family fort in Pennsylvania. Let's go, cowgirls!
Hello, and welcome back to Cowgirl Talk. We are so excited to be back for our 2024 season and just really excited to dive into a little bit of a new take on Cowgirl Talk. And if you heard the intro, and if you're watching this right now, you might be wondering, who the fuck is beside me right now? Let's address the elephant in the room and address who is beside me. So right now, this is Emily Chapman talking. And beside me, would you like to introduce yourself as our new co-host?
Yes, this is kind of crazy. I never thought I would be on a podcast on my sister's couch here in Florida, but I'm Becca. I'm Emily's older sister, and I'm excited to join you on Cowgirl Talk and just bring a new flavor to the show.
Yes, we're so excited to be able to move forward with this. Previously, there was three of us and amazing co-hosts, Emily and Haley, what's up? But we just decided to go a little bit of a different route, and we're going to kind of stick with a lot of the same structure, still talking about agricultural topics, women in ag, girl chats, really just keeping a fun, sometimes kind of spicy take on everything, and really just trying to have the fun sister banter between this. So we're really excited to move forward with this, and really just excited to continue having impactful conversations that y'all are going to be able to benefit from and hopefully take something away from this other than just the fact that, you know, we're hilarious, we're awesome, we're the best sisters ever. Just kidding. But I do want to say before we kind of dive into everything, just thank you so much for supporting us up to this point. Really excited for this 2024 season. We really want to bring on more guests, maybe dive a little bit deeper into topics, and again, just really appreciate your continued support. And as always, if you have any ideas, anything you would love for us to dive into, we are all ears. This is for you. And we want to make sure it's really going to be impactful in the best way possible. And to kind of keep it on brand, as always, we're going to start off with diving into our highs and lows of the week. And so since, you know, we have a newbie here, Becca is going to dive into her highs and lows of the week.
Oh, man, I always love the highs and lows that you guys have done on this because I actually started incorporating it into some of my check-ins at work, and people, because everyone loves Emily. Anytime I go somewhere, they're like, "You're a Dairy Girl Fitness' sister, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I am." And they're like, "Oh gosh, okay." So I've been thinking about this. This week, I was at something called YDLI, which Emily knows very well.
Mm-hmm.
And our fellow Holstein and dairy industry friends and followers will probably know it as well. The Young Dairy Leaders Institute, it's such a fun week, and it's always in a warm location. So this year, it was in Tampa, Florida, which was awesome. And that's why we can be here together. And so it is just the high every year when I get to go, and you get to meet new people, you get to do personal and professional development. And I just can't say enough amazing things about it. But with that high came one of my lows for the week. It's a long week and you get a little emotional, really like taking a deep inward look at yourself. And so we were talking about burnout. And I recently became a manager, and I'm super excited about that. That's another high. But I was I was being a toxic corporate person. Like, I've kind of let go of some of my boundaries recently and have been answering emails at night and sitting on the couch at night looking at my emails, and it's not good. And I shared with the group, I just had a realization of, I am now setting the example of boundaries at work for this person I'm a manager to. And standing up in front of a group of 90 people saying that and looking in their faces, because we were practicing eye contact. That was one of the skills we learned.
Scary.
I started crying. I lost it. I said, I need a minute. I can't believe I'm getting emotional, but you have all made me realize that what you're struggling with, I'm the manager that you're complaining about. And a lot of people came up to me at the bar that night and said, "We wanted to give you a hug." And so I cried for a cause, which was good, but that was a low.
But it kind of led into a high, it seems like.
It did. It was a high, low, high.
It's like, damn, we're down in the valley. Now we're back at the top of the mountain.
No, it was a bit of a roller coaster, but that was an interesting professional moment for me, crying in front of people.
Yeah, it's always crying. I love crying, not
in
necessarily in front of
by
people.
Myself.
Yeah, so it's fun to cry, especially like anything. I'll cry, but yeah, in front of people, it's like, oh my God.
Yeah,
and when it's not expected.
Yeah, so I did. I had to go to the bathroom.
Like, all right, guys, I'm leaving.
Like, get that cry out in the bathroom stall, and then I came back.
Yeah, but don't let that deter you away. If you're curious about YDLI, it is amazing. And I completed it. Technically, I started in 2022, graduated in 2023, and my class was in Fort Worth, Texas.
So much fun.
Freaking love Fort Worth, Texas. And again, I love YDLI. Did we ever say what it stands for?
I don't know.
Young Dairy Leaders Institute is what is what it stands for. But it truly is life-changing, and you really do just make so many incredible connections. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the great things as well, and you even said it was one of your questions this week, is really recognizing where do you have the opportunity to grow or kind of evolve and really reflect on the good and the bad things about yourself. And I don't want to say bad, but the areas that you could do better at or be better at for yourself, but for the other people that you're working with. Yeah.
So that was that.
Love that.
Yeah, it was a good week.
And it's also great because it allowed us to be together right now, because y'all know I'm a Florida girly. But for me, while she was down in Tampa, I was actually elsewhere. So my high of the week was I had the opportunity to go to Eleuthera, Bahamas, which I didn't even know was an island in the Bahamas. I mean, I'm not a Bahamas expert, but I went to Nassau once on a cruise my senior year of high school, so 10 plus years ago. But Eleuthera, it's a little sliver of an island in the Bahamas. It's beautiful, just breathtaking. We went to the French Live Resort, and one of my brother's really good friends, his wife, their coffee truck and their actual business now, it's Biddle's Brewing. I love it. Hype it up. And so his wife actually asked Ruben and I to be a part of a campaign shoot there. And I was like, fuck yeah. I will totally come to the Bahamas.
That's like next level famous. That's an entirely different level of famous for you.
I feel like it's just good karma, you know, when you support other people and you're nice to other people. It's like, hey, and it was just so much fun for that reason.
Like their number one Instagram supporter.
Yeah, I love Biddle's
Brewing.
Shout out to Biddle's Brewing. It's a coffee shop in Williamsburg, but if you ever pass through,
it's so good.
So good. Yeah, so because of that, and I guess, you know, the following we've been able to build on social media, had the opportunity to spend kind of 2 full days, and it was jam-packed. I mean, people that have to be actual models.
Oh, it was probably insane.
Dude, yeah, we were on the go, first world problems, but it was so cool. We got to see sea turtles, pigs, which I don't care about pigs anywhere else, but if you get them on an island, it's like, oh my God, they're so cute. Like automatically.
It's like a pig on vacation.
Yes. So I was like, oh my God, an island pig. So that was beautiful. And it was a little breezy and windy, but still, just if anyone wants to take a tropical vacay, Eleuthera, Bahamas was beautiful. The people are great. And the resort was just breathtaking as well. It's kind of like out over the sea, sunset, just amazing. And with that, I would say my low of the week would just be, I feel like I've picked up some sort of cough hack thing. So if you hear me sounding kind of nasty over here, that's what's going on. I feel like that's just the season that we're in right now for a lot of people, but not a bad low at all. It's just something that kind of comes with the territory, I guess, a little bit. But otherwise, now that we've gotten our highs and lows out of the way, we're really excited to just kind of dive into today's episode topic. And with that, just giving almost a little bit of a reintroduction, well, kind of into me, Emily, as I am talking, but then also allowing y'all to get to know Becca a little bit more as well, because she's awesome. She's thebomb.com. I mean, she is my sister, right? And also I have to say that she'll say now, oh, everyone knows me as Dairy Girl Fitness's sister. But I grew up like in the shadow of everyone else in my family. It was either like, I'm Steve Shaw's daughter.
Yeah.
Or it was like, oh, you're Becca's sister. Because as you can see in our bios, like she's always very driven in kind of the, what would you say, the corporate space in a lot of other ways, but like very well known and just getting shit done. So it was always like that. And now they're Dairy Girl Fitness's relative. So I'm like, finally, get a piece of like the medicine that I've been fed all these years.
I guess, yeah, it is your turn to be the one who's known.
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, because I am the middle child technically. So
yeah,
I tend to get overlooked sometimes. But other than that, yes, wanted to give y'all a little intro into who we are, kind of our background as being sisters. And, you know, there's probably a lot of people with sisters or siblings listening to that, and you'll probably be able to relate to a lot of aspects of what it's like growing up with siblings. It's the best thing ever. I would never trade my siblings for anything, but with having siblings, especially like sisters, there's a lot of drama that can go on too, especially when you're younger. We're a lot better now.
So many good stories. We had a test or a skill to learn this week that was how you tell stories to a group and be animated without being over animated and making everyone feel included. Ooh. And the story I told was about you forgetting the lunch.
Oh my God. Becca, you'll hear the story and you'll be like, she's evil.
No, you're going to be like, I would have done the same thing.
Should we tell that story now? And then we'll dive into, this is why Becca is the way that she is. And you can get to know her and you'll be like, oh, that makes sense.
It's like it's stereotypical older sister and younger sister. So we were
what year was it?
I can't even remember.
You were driving.
Yeah, so I was at least 16, 17.
She's 3 years older than me.
So there's 4 of us. So, but there are 3 of us who are closer in age, and it starts with me and then goes to Emily and then our younger brother, Tyler. And so we were all in middle school, high school, or like junior high school at the same time.
Which is all the same at our school because it was so small.
Super small town. And Emily was just always late.
I'm pokey.
She is pokey. and I'm like,
I'm relaxed, I like to say.
Follower, and I'm a type A-er. And so, you know, she keeps me more relaxed and I keep her on time.
Or just make her angry.
I was late a couple of times for homeroom, and I don't like getting in trouble. Like, it traumatizes me being in trouble in school. So my homeroom teacher said, hey, you've got to stop being late or you're going to get in trouble. And so Emily, the one day, was supposed to bring our lunch money. And we realized a block or like 2 blocks from the school that you had forgotten it.
Yeah, it was at the stop sign.
And I was convinced.
You did this on purpose.
I knew it deep in my soul that she did this on purpose.
She's wrong.
To get me in trouble. And
we were already running late.
We were late, and I knew I was going to get in trouble, and I knew she had done it on purpose, which she didn't.
I would admit to it at this point. I did not do it on purpose.
That's probably in your like bridesmaid best like.
Well, that's a good idea.
She's gonna admit.
Like, good luck, Joe. Don't forget your lunch money.
She's gonna admit that she did it on purpose. Like, I have a confession 20 plus years later.
You wish.
And so we were arguing. I stopped at the stoplight, and stoplight. We don't even have that.
We don't have a stoplight in our town. It's that small. Not one.
The stop sign in our town. And I refused to move the car.
Yeah,
until
I think you swarmed me. You're like, get the fuck out.
Yeah, I said, get the fuck out of this car until you tell me you did this on purpose, and we're just going back and forth.
I was like, I'm not getting out. I didn't do this on purpose. I like to eat. Like, y'all know me. I like to eat food. Why would I forget the lunch money?
And so it was, and then in the middle of our argument, we just hear the back door open.
Yeah, Tyler's in the back, just dealing with this.
Gets out of this car, has not said a word the whole time. Gets out of the car, shuts the door. Shuts the car door. And walks back up to the school. And that was one of the many times in life that Tyler taught us or made us realize, well, we're being idiots.
Oh, Becca more so. I was like, yeah, thank God. Someone else.
And then I was late and I got in trouble. And we still got to eat lunch that day.
Thank God.
Yeah. So
that's the basis of our relationship.
That is like how we grew up.
Yeah. Like best friends most of the time, but then similar in a lot of ways, but different in a lot of ways in terms of, yeah, I guess just our personalities a little bit of, I don't know, like chill, relax, or kind of go with the flow. Like, I like to get shit done, and I do get shit done, but I can be at a slower pace. And I've always been late to things, and I know that's my own fault. Even to this day, I'm just like, okay,
Yeah, and I'm not saying I'm always on time.
Much more than me. You are the organized person.
Yeah, I like a flow as long as it has an agenda.
As long, like, we can be flexible as long as there's like something to fall back on.
As long as you incorporate a couple hours into the agenda for the day to allow things to go wrong and be flexible. So I feel like that really speaks to kind of the jobs or the careers that we have now.
Yeah.
And so where I'm at in my life is I'm about a decade into my corporate career, which is nuts.
She's old. Just kidding.
I am.
Just kidding.
Oh my God. And so I went to Penn State. We all did. Our parents met at Penn State. We all went to Penn State, and we were all actually in the ag business school.
Yeah, and we were all in the same fraternity.
Yeah, the same co-ed fraternity. Like
Alpha Zeta.
Yeah, apple doesn't fall far from the tree in our family. And so I went to Penn State, and through opportunities in clubs and dairy judging and all of the things that you do, I have been super fortunate to meet people who have just given me all kinds of different jobs and volunteer opportunities throughout my career. So now I am at a job where I serve as a brand manager for a milk cooperative, which is so cool. It fell into my lap, and what I love about it is that I get to make decisions and work with a team that really impacts the bottom line of the business. And the business is owned by dairy farmers. So I am responsible, and I have this responsibility to manage a line of products that genuinely impacts their lives.
Yeah.
And that's a pressure I haven't felt before, which might also be part of the stress of why I cried at Why Do You Lie? And it's just a lot of fun. And I've been in advertising and marketing and content development type of roles, or surprise event planning type of.
She's good at it.
And this is the first one that is really more in the nitty gritty of the operational side of the business. So it's a lot of fun. I love it. I haven't felt at home at a job in a really long time since my first job out of college. And I really do feel at home. That's awesome. It's exciting. And so I work from home. I have all 10 years. People talk about how COVID changed the remote landscape. I'm like, no, I'm an OG.
I've been here.
I have no idea how to work in an office. I would literally, I don't know what I would do.
Bring your like walking pad with you into the office.
Yeah. She can.
And your dog.
Get a walking pad. She keeps me healthy.
What's up?
My dog is my foot warmer at my desk, and so that's where I work. And it's just, if I get stressed, I go put in a load of laundry, or I do the dishes. I do like a mindless task, right? But so I live at home in Pennsylvania with my fiance, Joey. Shout out, Joey.
What's up, Joe?
Our dog, Phoebe, who...
Chaos.
Absolute chaos. She's a golden doodle who matches, I think, my energy. It's like if I were a dog, it would be Phoebe. It's like just absolute chaos and loves to eat and is a little chunky. She's fat, but
a little
a fluffy.
She's got some what do you call it? Like junk in the trunk. She walks like a little hot dog.
Yeah, she has no shame in me.
You'll see her, it's just like a tube. Sorry, Phoebe, if you're listening.
Sorry, we love you very much. You're beautiful. And so it's a wonderful, simple life. It's like wonderfully boring. And I love it.
Yeah, and I've always thought it was awesome how when you don't know what you don't know about people's lives, but Becca right out of college, it seemed like she was able to fall into a career that she kicked ass with and loved and was able to really grow with. And I just always thought that was so awesome, and how you've, gone to different jobs and you've really always been good at really working with teams and creating those teams and creating those communities. And of course, then kicking ass with your job and all those other roles within it. And I always thought that was so awesome. And, you got to kind of stay within Pennsylvania. Yeah. And I feel like not lead a traditional path, but lead a little bit more of a path that felt like, hey, this was kind of what I was supposed to be doing.
Yeah. And, one of the things that I think made that happen is I was taught and coached by, and our mom and dad are really good at this.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like I was raised to be like this, but it's you identify people that make you happy
Yeah.
or like identify people that can help you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's you network with them or you meet them, you build those relationships with them. And I mean, I've always had the best bosses.
Yeah.
I mean, and
Yeah,
so,
I love the people that she's always worked with. It's fun to connect with them as well.
Yeah, and so I've always had people who make me look good, to be honest. I like that boss or I like that team and I know they can make me look good and I can make them look good. And it really is just, I really feel like that's the secret sauce.
And that's one of the coolest parts about working in the dairy industry and ag industry.
Yeah.
I know all industries are awesome for a lot of reasons, but ag in general is a small industry. Dairy is
Super
even
small.
smaller.
It's
and so
crazy.
it truly is about the connections you can make. And it's I'm not going to say it's easy to make those connections, but it's a much smaller web that you're connected on. And we didn't necessarily grow up, not necessarily, we didn't grow up on a dairy farm.
Yeah.
And so our connection into the ag world and the dairy world was a little bit different. But we were able to make connections in different way, and it kind of forced us to get involved in different ways, I think, too, in unique ways as well, of just being able to provide a different perspective and, yeah, just being forced to do other things to get involved in ag. So we didn't have the farm to fall back on. So it was like, how else can we get involved in dairy? What other avenues can we find careers within dairy? Because it wasn't going to be going back to a farm.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and for me, well, y'all kind of know my story a little bit. And if you don't, we can retell it. But I feel like I had the same, passions as Becca and still do. And it was going to Penn State I really wanted to get involved in dairy promotion and dairy marketing in some capacity. I loved agritourism. I still do. I tried interning at Fair Oaks one summer, but they didn't take me. Whatever. It's fine.
Missed out.
What's up?
Look at her now.
It's because I had no pig experience, which was true. Like, okay.
It was for pig?
It was both. They have like the dairy and the pig agritourism. I've never actually been there, so I haven't seen it. But
yeah, you have island pig experience.
Yeah. What's up? I don't need y'all. Just
I've
kidding.
been in the Bahamas.
I love y'all. If you're listening, I would still do something with you. But yeah, so for me, that was always kind of the path that I was like, this is what I can do. And I always feel grateful as well to grow up in dairy because it did give us an idea of what we wanted to do, even though I'm involved in a different way now. But I had different internships, kind of all involved in that space a little bit, ag business, credit analyst. But then I moved to Georgia after graduating from Penn State, and the dairy industry is smaller there. So there's just not as many opportunities.
Yeah.
And that's when I kind of felt lost. And I was like, what the hell am I doing? What do I do? I had, an internship. I worked as a credit analyst at a local bank. That was so boring. It was terrible.
Oof.
Yeah.
And you had done such a good job of
doing the right things.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess doing the right things, but you just met the right people.
Yeah.
You met the right people. You did the right projects. You volunteered in the right organizations. You joined the right clubs.
Yeah.
And then you moved.
And it was like,
and it's just like,
it was all
gone, poof. It's like it never happened.
I know. Which
stinks.
Yeah. And at that point, at that age, it almost felt like this was all for nothing, which is, such young kid mentality of like, why me? But yeah, like I kick ass at school. I'm really good at school. I enjoy being good at school.
So good.
Like I get the good GPA. Yeah. President of clubs, involved in.
Mad about a B in a class. And I'm like, I got a C in calculus. Yeah. Let's go.
Humble brag. I've only ever had one B in my entire life. And it was freaking SCM 200. And I still have a little vendetta against that professor. But whatever.
I'm pretty sure I've only ever had like one B in the rest. Like one A in college.
Yeah. So see, right? I was like, I'm doing all the right things.
You were.
And yeah, but just moving it, you can have all the right connections, but if the location doesn't provide the opportunities, or maybe the ones that I wanted, that's where I felt lost. And so I thought I would have a path like you. And that's, it's a fun path. But then moving because of my now husband, which everything worked out, that really put a wedge in my plans. And it then forced me to eventually, lead into Dairy Girl Fitness and now just create this path that's very flexible. I still don't know what it'll look like in the next 5 years. And it really just forced me to see what's possible in an untraditional way. And while it's still sometimes I'm like, okay, I wouldn't mind being in a little bit more of a structured kind of secure place because everything is up to me. Like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing sometimes. Or like people will say, what's your 5-year plans? I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I love Dairy Girl Fitness. It's amazing. We change lives. The women that we work with are thebomb.com. But it's also like, this is also still new to me. I've been doing it over 4 years, but it's hard to know kind of what's possible when there's so many possibilities. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, and you don't have this security blanket that a
Mhm.
corporate company gives you. So
Yeah.
when people ask me, are you ever, going to go the entrepreneurial route like your sister? Maybe someday.
Mhm.
But to be honest,
It's
I
scary.
love this blanket that corporate America gives me,
Yeah.
And so I'm not brave. I'm not as brave as you in that regard to like step out of needing that safe fall for me.
Yeah.
So that's something that I've always admired about you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think about it and I'm like, no.
But
I don't want to be in charge of my own paycheck.
And I feel like I was kind of forced to, right? So you've always been in, like you said, in jobs and careers that you really enjoyed. Like even if there were downfalls, you've worked with amazing people. And the jobs I had, the people were great, but they just drained my soul. And I was like, oh my God. I mean, I was always kind of involved in dairy, but just long hours, little pay, and not involved in the way that I wanted. So it forced me to be like, I'm going to take the leap because this is my worst case scenario. So taking the leap, if anything, I just come back to it. And so, whenever you're in the situation of like, why me? My life is so hard, or why isn't something working out for me? That's exactly what pushed me into kind of taking the leap. And so fortunately it's worked out to where I've been able to do it now. But since I've been doing it for years now I always wonder what would it be like going back to a traditional job, because being able to have this flexibility, I feel like it's something I've always enjoyed. Like even in college, I loved that, being able to kind of make your own schedule. And I feel like I've always been that kind of person that bounces around. I'm not as organized as you. And so that's where I feel like I kind of I thrive in this. Yeah. His list, like tracking things, all of that. I'm like, well, I have other people to do that.
She invited me to do this podcast, and the first thing I texted her was like, "Can I reorganize your files on Google Drive?"
Yeah, I'm like, okay.
But you said something how people will say, "Oh, this isn't working out for me."
Mhm.
Honestly, those crappy situations worked for you.
Yeah. Yeah, and it really was a mindset shift. And we grew up so lucky, just in terms of, our family having bomb ass siblings, incredible parents, and going to a smaller school, like all of the sports, all of the classes available, and going to Penn State. The path was always kind of laid out in an incredible way. Like it was the path I wanted to take. And so then getting to a point of wondering, like, what am I doing now?
Yeah.
Like, now what's my path? It really forced me to work on my mindset and, challenged me in a good way, because everyone has difficulties, but like life was pretty easy. And then to be put in this position of like,
we had a cush life.
Yeah, just like, great family, great siblings,
Oh my God.
small school. Great big schools, I'm sure, are great too. But it was always just kind of laid out. And we're just very lucky in that way. And then so to get thrown into this of what am I doing?
Yeah.
It was scary. And it's easy to fall into the victim mentality and just get angry. And like, I did it all right. Why isn't it working out for me? But it forced me to grow up, honestly. If like, knock it off, Emily. Like, stop being a brat to yourself and that life's so hard. Like, you have to go through some shitty times and difficult times. And even then, not that bad, because I still was with Ruben, his family. Everything was still incredible. But
it was like taking away from things that were really, really positive until you had that mindset shift.
Yeah, because that first year after college, anyone's first year out of school
it's hard. It's difficult.
Yeah, and that just threw it for a loop. And our family is very, like, I'm sure as many of the women and men listening to this, very driven. You want to get shit done. You want to make an impact. You want to be remembered. And we're very driven in that way, and finding careers that we can make an impact. And I just couldn't find that. And it was like part of the identity of, okay, like there's a lot of other great things to life, but where can I make my impact now? And that's where I felt lost.
Yeah.
Whew,
yeah. But I think that's a nice like transition into the type of family that we grew up in and what it was like as sisters. And
it was great most of the time.
It was, I mean, we really did have a great family. And I mentioned 3 of us earlier, but then we also had our older sister, Erin.
Hey, she's probably listening.
Shout out, Erin. And
God,
so,
I poor her for having to deal with us hooligans.
Yeah. She was 9 years older than me.
12 years older than me, and then 14 older than Tyler.
Yeah, thank you for doing that, Mom.
Yeah.
Camera fright.
I'm smart.
And so, honestly, growing up, she was kind of like an aunt.
Yeah. We stole her snacks a lot.
Well, she hid them in terrible places.
Yeah, like easy. Under the bed.
You little bratty kids. I'm like, Erin.
We're small. We're going to find stuff under the bed.
Your bed skirt didn't cover the cheese balls.
Yeah, or the Milano cookies. I remember those.
And she always had the frog and the
Yeah.
bunnies.
Sorry, Erin, you had such good snacks.
She did. And so she was, I mean, really instrumental in helping our parents raise us. And so now I really do feel like she's still kind of this older, wiser.
She's like, what kind of figure would you call her?
Yeah, I mean, she's definitely more of a, I feel like we're all more sisters or siblings now.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because like,
the age gap between like a 20-year-old and a 8-year-old is like, what am I supposed to talk to you about?
And even with our brother too, right? And so it's the different stages of life, even from 9th grade to 12th grade.
Yeah.
Right? Are so significantly different in your mind that even now that Erin has the beautiful house, the wonderful family, and her kids are older and, we haven't started having kids yet, God willing. And so it doesn't feel as distant anymore, which is really nice. Like we're all just in our adult lives trying to survive.
Yeah, because it was, like you said, it was different, or it's harder to connect when you're younger because the age gaps do feel so much more drastic, but we also got along so well. But it's nice, now being able to like really be besties now and go on trips and hang out and being able to connect in different ways because we all kind of had different connections with each other. So Erin, of course, was always older, and then you and I, we always got along, but still, when you're sisters, and girls are the worst growing up. I'm sure boys are too, but like we just have such attitudes. And again, we were like good kids, good students, sports, but just the drama, right? We create our own drama. And so having to navigate that, it was like, okay, we hung out a lot, but then also there were the blowouts of who knows what. And then I would say Tyler and I then, since we were only 2 years apart, we were then kind of closer as well of just being closer in age. And
I think so too. And it's
because I guess you guys would be 5 years apart.
Yeah. And you know what? I something just came into my mind is that we'll often talk about how, especially for me as a woman, I am never as direct to friends as I want to be. Like, dudes just say what they want and then move on.
Yeah, they don't think about what they say and how it impacts people.
No,
like, okay.
I am just like 3 years later, I'm still thinking about, should I handle that way? Or like, I should have told that person how I felt in that moment. As a sister or as a sibling, it's like, you're my safety blanket. You're my safe zone. So I can tell you exactly how I feel. And you can tell me exactly how you feel.
Mean way a little bit.
And
she's gotten better. No. We were
and
friends.
I like that about siblings. But we always like came back.
Yeah.
It was almost like our sister relationship is a typical dude relationship.
Yeah. I mean, I feel very lucky for how we all grew up because you can have the arguments, you can have the stupid fights. And I even remember with Tyler one time, I don't even remember what the argument was about, but we were just like wrestling. And I remember I bent his nail or like, it almost like fell off or something, right? I did something to him and then he slapped me in the face and then he got in trouble. I was like, but then, we were fine probably like 2 hours later. Or Becca, there were just plenty. I remember she bit me one time.
No, you
had braces that one time.
Because she was a biter
growing up.
Oh my God.
When I was younger.
Biter, she was a pincher.
I enjoyed having Becca's friends fear me.
She was like kind of violent. So it
was my only sense of power against the older kids. It was like they fear me.
My power was verbal.
Yeah,
her power was physical.
Maybe that's why I like to strength train to lift heavy things now.
Even when she's drunk now, she'll try to deadlift me and I have to hide behind on mom. At 31 and 29.
Yeah.
Like, mom, help. Beach this year, mom was like, Emily, Leave your sister alone.
No. Yeah, I like to harass them with my strength a little bit.
Yeah, I finally stood my ground and bit her back
with braces,
and I got in trouble
because she had braces.
Oh,
and I'm cooler. I'm the cooler sibling.
Oh, but okay. Besides arguing and fighting and biting, we had a really good relationship. With our parents and with our grandparents and extended family. And we really just had this cocoon of happiness and warmth. But also, I feel like our parents really put us in everything.
Yeah.
But I never
and it helped being
unwilling,
in a small town, too.
You know, like some people say, oh, my parents forced me to do this.
Having to give judging reasons.
Okay.
But I'm so glad we did it. But
yeah. But they like... I feel like that's why we're such active people now.
Yeah.
Is because they really forced or voluntold us.
Yeah.
Encourage.
Yeah. And then knowing that eventually we liked it. I mean, starting off, there's always a resistance, but we ended up liking everything that we were doing.
Yeah. And, oh my God. Our parents, like the amount of time that they put into taking us places.
It was chaos, probably.
Yeah. It was just so nice to have the ability to do all those things. So yeah, our mom or our dad would run us from dairy judging practice to jazz class.
Yeah. We both danced. Becca and I both danced. You wouldn't be able to know that now, but just to plug it in there, we did. So sorry for all the wasted money, probably, parents.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But I am so glad for what we were able to get involved in. And y'all know my story in terms of Dairy Girl Fitness came from my passion for sports and dairy, but that's kind of how we all grew up, because from our town, from our school, kindergarten to 12th grade, there's like 600 kids. And so it's
so small.
And, at times you're like, oh, this is the worst. But I love it now.
Oh, yeah. I could not. Where we want to have kids and send them to school is a little bit bigger.
It's way bigger.
Well, like 200, like 200 or 300 kids in a class versus 40.
Like 37.
Yeah, but we're also close to a school that graduates like 800 to 900, and I would have no idea how to parent a kid.
I know, like actually dealing with the drama that you see in movies. Like, people, there
like
are bullies.
Euphoria in real life.
Oh God, I hope not.
Oh God, yeah, no, I really.
That's all for HBO, but. With growing up and you can do this in a big school, in a big town, but because it was so small, you literally do just get involved in everything. Like we played every sport, and we got involved in 4-H and FFA, and it really just encouraged us to, be driven and be active and get shit done, really. And I'm so glad that a lot of us got to do it together in different ways. Like I got to be on Tyler's Dairy Bowl team, or, we would judge together or playing sports together. I'm just really grateful for that. And I think also growing up in the dairy industry as well, it's really where it pushed our boundaries of being comfortable. Yeah. For like the dairy judging, especially, is just an example of like having to give reasons and showing cows. And it also allowed us to travel. And so there's so many cool things about growing up in the dairy industry for that reason.
Yeah. And we were really taught the importance and the significance of community in a couple of different ways. One is the dairy industry, which is, what we're most involved with today, because you can only do so much. And dairy is really where our heart and our core and our purpose lies. But then we also, our parents were always super involved in the local community. Right.
Lived at the Little League field during the summers.
That was my first job off the farm.
The concession stand.
Yeah. And I was like obsessed with all of the younger umpires.
Oh yeah.
They were so cute. I would give them free chocolate milkshakes.
Fried Oreos.
Sorry to their girlfriends at the time that a 12-year-old was like flirting with your 18-year-old
I love you.
Boyfriend. And so then also just our family was like its own little community of, it always came first, but then it was always important to be involved elsewhere.
Yeah. And it's just something that I think such a strong foundation that we can do all the things that we're doing today. That we can start a podcast, that I can do Dairy Girl Fitness, that you can change jobs, or like Aaron's in Connecticut. Yeah. I'm in Florida. Becca's still within like the vicinity of our hometown, and Tyler just actually moved to Jacksonville recently. But we know we can do all these things because we have that support to fall back on, and we have the support of each other. And it's still scary doing a lot of these things, but knowing that we've been, pushed to try new things growing up, and we have that support, it makes it it's scary, but again, more fun of like, hey, I'm going to do it. And I know I have the people behind me to support it.
Yeah. We're going to have so many stories for
I
all of
know.
you, but I feel like we've got to save some of the good stuff to keep you coming back.
Yeah, and that's also why I'm really excited to be able to host Cowgirl Talk together, because we really, when you grow up with someone, you have the stories, you have the different relationships, and I think it'll be really fun to dive into a lot of the topics we want to talk about and really bring a fun perspective to it, and just weird stories and the sister banter, and whether that's, us doing our girl chats or our ag chats or having conversations with guests. I'm really excited for what's to come with Cowgirl Talk, and to also, get to explore this avenue together and see what it can lead to.
Yeah. Who knew?
Sister
podcasters. Actually, you know what? For the people who really know us, this probably isn't that surprising.
Now they're like, oh, wow. This is like what it's like every time they're together.
Talk and tell.
Yeah. I could probably get better at telling stories with less words. Or like, it's like that kombucha meme.
And I could probably get better at using less corporate lingo in my real life. Like, I literally told Joey the other night, can we circle back on this after?
Oh my God.
It's
like, no.
Sorry for treating you all like a coworker.
Yeah.
It's deep now. Those words are deep. But I mean, okay, so we've done a lot of travel this week. We're here. So what Emily had, I've loved this. Again, it's so cool to be a part of it. Now that I've always just been driving, listening to them talking.
Now she's a part of it.
It's mine. And so our weekly obsession this week, we both travel a lot. This girl has the coolest trips, like the coolest. So
this past year's been very, very lucky for the trips we've taken recently.
Yeah, it's so awesome to follow along. And we, over the years, and we always took trips as family, have come up with like the things we love to have while we travel. So I'd love to hear, what are some of your travel obsessions or like things you love to travel with?
And I think it'll be fun because, we both travel for work, but I feel like have really good career recs or corporate recs, because as we said, Becca's like the type A millennial corporate cowgirl. I like that logo. We should put it on a shirt.
I really should. Type A corporate cowgirl.
Millennial
corporate
we're
cowgirl.
both millennial. But so very lucky to travel. And I would say two of my go-tos, well, I feel like I bring the same thing, but a good pair of headphones. And I like small headphones that go over my ears. I hate AirPods. That's also a weekly hot take, but I think AirPods are trash. For me, I like Beat headphones, which I know they're owned by Apple.
Like the big ones or the hooky ones?
So I have big ones, but for travel, I have the Powerbeat Pro. So they're buds, but they hook around the ear. And so they're really comfortable and they're smaller. So they're really easy to travel with. They hold a great charge. So they don't die quickly at all. And so those are always clutch for me. And again, they're small, compact, and you don't really have to worry about them dying. And they're not AirPods. Yay. And they're wireless.
Number one criteria, not an AirPod.
Yeah, I have small ears. So they're sensitive to what type of earbuds I use. And so that would be one of my favorite things, because if you're listening to a podcast, if you're listening to Cowgirl Talk, watching a movie, whatever it is, they're clutch. And then also, I always have a backpack, but I also like to carry a kind of like a belt bag, a crossbody belt bag. So my Vouray crossbody belt bag, it's the Quinn belt bag. I always have that with me because to have my boarding pass accessible, phone, chapstick, whatever it is. So I always like to have a crossbody bag and then my headphones and a water bottle.
You can probably, so that's like one of the most annoying things is that having those things easily accessible, because
we don't have pockets usually.
Being in the TSA line is like being in the grocery store line. I panic and I feel like I'm ruining everybody's life. It's just like a huge source of anxiety and stress for me. But then I bet you're probably able to like easily slip that in another bag.
Yep.
Versus like taking a purse and then having to figure out how to put that in my perfectly organized little backpack, which means just stuff shoved in it until it doesn't close anymore.
Yeah, and I'm not a huge purse girl. I never really have been. So
you're really not a purse girl.
No.
And I'm a purse girl.
Yeah. So those would kind of be my two. And again, like a water bottle. I always use my Hydro jug if I take it with me.
Okay, shout out. I need to get one of these because show them the top. If you're watching this, sorry if you can't see.
This is my Hydro Jug Traveler.
Description.
Code Emily10 saves you money. But move over Stanley cups because the Hydro Jug Traveler is clutch. It's like a Stanley. It's 40 ounces, but It doesn't spill. Look at this.
I need this because I can't bring my stand, like even to the gym. I've taken it and it just spills everywhere.
Yeah, the top goes down and up. So you can put it down.
Maybe a Dairy Girl Fitness could hook me up with one.
Yeah, she can use my code and support me at the same
in case
time.
anyone's wondering, I still pay. Actually, no, Emily hooks me up with some good stuff.
Yeah,
She does, like proteins and good stuff.
Yeah. Ruben gets all of the goodies. He
does.
thrives off my free
man.
stuff.
So
yeah, what's your obsession?
Okay, so I have a couple of things. One of the things I've gotten a lot better at is packing less. But I remember, my first job, and my first boss, Josh, will crack up if he listens to this. So this will be a test to see if they're listening to this.
Text Becca after this.
Is I always had a checked bag. Even if, these like ag business professionals, they could go on a 5-day trip or a 7-day trip in a carry-on. That's not me. Because, you've got the aspirational workout clothes.
Yeah.
You have one for every day. You might use one.
Yeah.
And then you have your toiletries, your makeup,
that's where it takes
your hair accessories, a different pair of shoes for every outfit, because I've always been very expressive through the way I dress for work in particular. Like, ag business professional is my Super Bowl. She's
really good at the cool, cute outfits.
I love that. And so one time someone was making fun of me. They, basically calling me a brat without calling me a brat.
We're an asshole. Whoever said that.
Without having a carry-on bag. And I said, sorry, but fabulous never fits on a carry-on.
Oh.
I'm here to tell you that it can.
Yeah.
You've just got to be a lot smarter about it. So,
but still, the point stands.
Is being very intentional with the shoes I bring, but then also packing cubes, because it forces me to be like, okay, this cube is for the work clothes. This cube is for we're going to go out at night and have dinner. And this is for the workout clothes. So I love packing cubes. And
I just use those for my Bahamas trip. And I actually utilized it in a really good way, better than I had before. And I was like, wow, I fit a lot.
Yeah. And it's like, exactly where everything is. And so it makes it a lot easier to get ready in the morning. And then another really unique thing that I've recently been using, or I realized on the way to a trip, that I was going to have stuff that I wanted to bring home, and I didn't have any room for it. So I bought, it doesn't have to be a Toomey bag. It was just, that was what was in the airport, but it fits in a little pouch that you can put in your backpack. And then it folds out and it's this big duffel bag.
Oh.
So it's like you have that extra bag to put things in, and you travel with it. So, and then you can use a little pouch to carry other things within it. So
that's smart.
I've been getting stalked with all kinds of different ones on Instagram. I'm sure we will again now because we're near our phones.
Becca's working on not buying stuff from ads.
I know, I really am. And so that's just like a really cool bag.
That's smart because, if you're going somewhere, and it may not be often, but like going home for Christmas, it's always like, am I going to bring something home?
Yeah.
So like that would be a great example.
And two things that she's got me hooked on is, one, I love putting protein in my coffee now while I'm traveling. So I travel with a little milk frother that has a case on top of it, or like a lid.
Yeah. I have the same one.
So I use that. I travel with that all the time. And then I also have the pill organizer.
Yep.
So
she just used it this morning.
I literally just used it this morning. And one side's my morning, and then the other side is my adult. And then I have, the extras in there, but it's just giving everything a place. Yeah. When you're traveling, because traveling is so chaotic that if you can bring a little bit of
structure and routine.
Yeah, structure and routine to something that's going to be very unstructured is like so.
It makes a difference.
And peaceful, and it really does.
Wow. Yeah. Well, that was fun.
I can't believe we're already like, oh my God, almost 50 minutes into this.
I know.
That's crazy.
Right? It's so easy to just talk and talk, as y'all will learn. That's why we started a podcast. But yes, that's why I'm so excited to. I've already loved Cowgirl Talking again. Our OG hosts were thebomb.com, but I'm
amazing.
I'm really excited to be able to continue moving this forward, though, and I'm so grateful that you're joining me on this,
sister,
because I can talk solo, but it's so much more fun doing this with someone, and I'm really excited for us to be able to do it together, because again, we grew up together, and I feel like we'll just really have an easy flow of conversation, and I think we're just going to really be able to touch on some kick-ass topics, ag, girl chats, really solid guest. And as always, if you have any ideas, things that you would love for us to talk about, please reach out. I mean, we're on all socials at Cowgirl Talk. We're going to be back in the game, back to posting more, doing all the fun things. So we really appreciate hearing from y'all. We really appreciate the feedback. And I feel like as podcast hosts, we have to say this, but if you enjoyed this episode, if you enjoyed the show, please subscribe, rate it, leave a review. We are really excited to continue growing this and really diving deeper into it, really, bringing a lot of value to this. So we always really appreciate the feedback. And if you listen, tag us on your stories, all of the fun things that, we're supposed to say as podcast hosts to help us share our show.
With your friends.
Yeah.
Put
or
it
your
on
family.
your story.
Or
Like
family.
it. Comment on it.
Do everything.
Do those things.
Say we're thebomb.com.
We are.
We try.
are thebomb.com.
Yeah, you gotta be your biggest cheerleaders.
We are our biggest cheerleaders.
Yeah.
Woo!
Awesome. We won't hype ourselves up anymore on that note. But again,
very humble podcast.
Thank you so much for tuning in. So excited for the 2024 season. And on that note, go have a great day, cowgirls.
I love that. Have a great day, cowgirls. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.